Okay, this is a short speech called On Respect. So, I respect you. This is a classroom built on respect, and today I'll tell you a couple of things about that. I respect you as learners, as human beings, and as being powerful and capable beyond your wildest dreams. One, there are three things. One, I respect you as learners. Because I respect you as learners, in this classroom we will use what I like to call an evidence-based teaching method. Now, most math classrooms use the lecture method of instruction. The lecture method made a lot of sense in the circumstances of its invention. A long time ago, books were expensive, and most people could not read. So the one person who could read stood in front of a group and read aloud the one available copy of the book. All of you can read. And since the invention of the printing press, actually, do any of you know when the printing press was invented?
16 and something.
15 something, 16 something, 14 something. Actually, 1440. I'm asking this question for a reason, by the way, about the printing press. Books have become much cheaper and more available, and so the circumstances of the lecture method's invention have become a historical anachronism. Studies show that the retention of understanding from the lecture method is about 5%. Now, you may be thinking, wait a second, I learn way more than 5% of the material in a lecture. And that may be true, but then again, maybe not. Because a lecture can lull you into a false sense of understanding. While you're listening to it, you feel like you understand all of it. When you walk out of the room, you're happy and you feel like you understood all of it. And then you sit down to do your homework and you're like, wait a second, this is harder than I thought. When I taught classes in the lecture method, students said on their evaluations, the problems the professor did in class were much easier than the homework problems. Yeah, no kidding. That's because I was doing it and you were watching me. So let me tell you about something that happened last semester in this very room. A student came up to me at the end of a class period quite upset and said, okay, we discussed the homework problems and now I understand directional derivatives, it's basically like slope, and I understand partial derivatives, same thing, but I really don't understand the gradient at all. And I asked questions to my group and they tried to explain it to me, but I still don't get it. And to that I say, yes, we're doing it right. Not because I'm a sadist, but because, get this, that student understands at least half of the material. So we're beating this 5% by a factor of 10. Plus, in no way is this student lulled into a false sense of understanding. He knows what he doesn't understand, and he is highly motivated, even agitated, to figure it out. And sure, he doesn't understand the gradient today, but this is my classroom. We'll hit it again on tonight's homework. We'll hit it again on the next homework. By next week, he will understand the gradient. This method of instruction works. A recent meta-study of 228 studies comparing inquiry-based teaching methods to the lecture method overwhelmingly showed that inquiry-based learning is better. So much so, a recent article about it says, that the authors found it ethically questionable to make students attend lecture-based courses, given all that we know about how ineffective they are. If the studies had been medical experiments, they probably would have been stopped in the middle because the treatment being tested was clearly more beneficial. I respect you, and so in this classroom, we will use an evidence-based teaching method. That's right. Okay, one more thing. Your fellow student, Garrett Ruley, did a study of my teaching methods for his anthropology course. In fall 2017, Garrett sat in on 5 of my Math 15 classes and interviewed some students and then wrote a 10-page paper on it. I encourage you to read the whole thing, but basically he said that everything in the classroom conformed to sound educational principles. We were doing everything right. But that the students weren't able to take full advantage of it because they were all coming from lecture-based courses. He felt that they needed a little help to transition from one system to another. So this semester, for the first time, because of Garrett's work, I'm going to try giving little 5-minute lectures at the end of class. But here's the thing. I'll only do it if all of you have done your homework. Because I believe that telling you things only works if you are really ready to learn those things, if you really want to know them. So we'll try it. And if you like it, you can thank Garrett. 2, I respect you as human beings. What I am doing right now, lecturing at you, does not recognize your humanity, and so I will not do this very often. A few minutes ago, I asked you when the printing press was invented. This is an example of a question of the form, guess what the teacher is thinking. It's kind of fun to have a little exchange like that. I say something, you give some answers, it's fun. But it reduces you to an automaton telling me what I want to hear, which does not recognize your humanity, so I will not do it. If I ask you a question, it will be something I don't know. So how did you try to solve it? Okay, what answer did you get? Did it make sense? Oh, yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. I see. Okay, well, what if you try this other way? Did anyone do that? Oh, you did. And how did it work? What did you get? Right? There are questions that I don't know the answer to. If there's something I want you to know, I'll tell you. The printing press was invented in 1440. You forgot to check the case where x equals 0. And okay, you're stuck. All of you are stuck? Okay, fine. I'll tell you. The key to this problem is to do the dot product. That sort of thing. So I'll interact with you in this room in the same way I interact with you outside of the room, and in the same way I interact with everyone else in my life, because I respect you, and I respect your humanity. And because I respect you, I respect your time. Every moment of my life is precious. And the same goes for you. Every single thing we do, every minute we spend in this classroom is something I have carefully structured to give you the best possible educational experience in the time we have together. So let me tell you a story. So my family exchanges gifts at Christmas, and this past Christmas I got some presents from my mom. Here's how it went. First, she got a little flamingo-shaped tea infuser. You know what that is? It's like a thing you put loose tea leaves in if you don't have a tea bag. She likes flamingos. It was cute. She liked it. Okay, great. About 20 minutes later, after a bunch of other people had opened presents, she opened a metal 2 hemispheres tea infuser, the kind of tea infuser that people use who really care about tea. And she was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, thank you. But actually, I don't have a lot of loose tea. And I didn't say anything. Nope, didn't say anything. But then a little while later, she opened another present. Loose tea. Haha, you see where this is going. Okay, and then the very last present, this big present that she had been wondering about the whole time. Who's that for? Who is it? It was an electric kettle, which you use to make water, for boiling water for tea. So you see how little by little I curated her experience of receiving the instruments of good tea, and in the same way, but with even more thought, I will introduce you to the ideas and skills of the course. Every problem in this book, every word of every problem, the order of the problems in the book, the order of the problems on the page, every single aspect of every piece of thinking I am asking you to do is something I have thought about, labored over, deleted, rewritten, reordered, reconsidered until it becomes the very best possible educational journey for you. I respect you, and I believe that you deserve that, so that's what you're getting. Finally, I respect you as powerful and capable beyond your wildest dreams. Your job every night is to do the homework problems for this class, and solve them if you can. Now, it sometimes happens, if you can believe it, that students come into class having not solved one of the problems. Can you believe that? It happens. It's okay. And I can tell you what they're thinking because they tell me. They say, I couldn't solve this problem. And I think they say that because that's what they think. They think that they can't solve that problem. But truly, I say to you that that thought has never crossed my mind. I have never, not even once, looked at a student and thought, that student didn't solve that problem because they couldn't do it. Nope, never even occurs to me. I'll tell you what I do think. I think she didn't spend enough time thinking about that problem. I think, oh, they didn't see the connection to the previous problem, but in their group someone will point it out, then they'll solve it. You belong here. For every single one of you, I looked at your academic history and I decided that you belong here. And for every single homework problem, I wrote it so that you could do it. Not so that it would be easy, but so that you would have to figure something out, to give you the chance of having an aha moment and delight in the pleasure of discovering something new. I know you can do it. And so in the words of Marianne Williamson, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. I believe that you are capable of so much, perhaps even more than you believe in yourself. Here's one thing that I can promise you, that in this classroom I will respect you, I will challenge you, and I will never, ever underestimate you. So you're capable of so much, and it's going to be a great semester. I'm so excited to get it started. Thank you.